Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mega Gamecast, episode number 10. I'm Ryan Shepard, your host, with Drew LaPointe right here on the couch.
What's up?
And Syke Cuddy on the phone.
What's up, people?
How are we all doing?
Doing all right, Ryan. How are you today?
Not too bad. Drew?
Enjoying a new year.
Oh, yeah. Brand new year. This will be the second podcast of the new year, but doesn't mean it's anything less special than the first one. We're actually going to try something a little bit different this time. We're going to try to break these podcasts up into smaller segments and then post them throughout the week, and then at the end of the week kind of release the whole big one in case that's the way you like to listen to it. We hope this kind of lets people pick and choose what they want to listen to, and you don't have to sit down and listen to an hour and a half, 2-hour podcast
or rewind,
if you don't want to.
Fast forward.
Anyway, rewind, fast forward. You'll be able to get to exactly what you want to listen to. So that being said, we're going to kick it off with just a overview of the games coming out in January of 2016. I know we did the most anticipated games of 2016 on the last episode, but that covered the entire year. This is just going to cover the month of January, just to remind people what's coming out, and we'll talk a little bit about some of them, but most of them we're probably just going to sail right over. We're going to start on January 12th with Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, coming out on Windows, PS4, and Xbox One. Now, this is the second game in the Assassin's Creed Chronicles series. Last year they released, I think it was in the middle of the year or something like that, they released one in, it was Japan, wasn't it?
China,
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in China, and it took place in 1526, I believe, Ryan.
Okay.
Did you ever play that, Si, or no?
Honestly, I haven't. I think the reason was, I guess it was its platform that turned me off a little bit. I mean, it's only going to be 2.5D, as all of these Assassin's Creed Chronicle games will be. But I wasn't really interested in the time period. Although this next one coming up sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah,
so I may check that out.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, these Chronicles games, they're not the traditional Assassin's Creed games. They're 2D. Well, I guess maybe size is 2.5D side-scrolling games, and I didn't play it either, but it interested me for a little while until I heard some of the reviews that kind of questioned its quality.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like something you'd be into, Ryan. Actually.
Yeah, I was
the way it is.
I was excited about it because it looks gorgeous. Like the
visuals.
The one that's out there looks really, really great, and I just heard that the stealth wasn't that great, and it was kind of a little bit uninteresting the way that they incorporated, the typical Assassin's Creed elements into the game.
Kind of a one-note kind of deal.
That's what it sounded like.
A lot more linear, obviously.
Now, it's been like probably at least 6 months since that one came out, and who knows if, they took those criticisms to heart and are going to come out with something a little bit more, broader, or expand on what they've done to maybe make a better game. Hopefully that comes out, because if that's the case, maybe I'll pick up this new one. Don't take me 100% true on this one, but I think there's supposed to be 3 of these.
It would make sense.
That's correct, Ryan. There's going to be 3 of them. One of them is coming out the 12th of January, and then there's going to be a second one coming out in February, and there's going to be a Chronicles trilogy pack.
Okay.
The same day as the last one drops.
I feel like the third one is maybe going to be in Russia.
It is. That's correct. It
right.
takes place after the Russian Revolution. Okay. That's probably the one I'm looking forward the most, because it has an assassin that was mentioned previously named Nikolai Orlov.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that for next month during next month's release.
Yeah, and if this ends up getting good reviews, maybe we'll talk in depth about it if I pick it up, or if one of us picks it up.
Yeah.
So. And if it sucks, we'll talk even longer.
Yeah, we'll also talk about it.
I don't know. It's a cool idea. Like, I don't know. I kind of like some of these locations. I feel like could be cool locations for a full-on Assassin's Creed game.
People have been asking for a feudal Japan.
Oh, dude, still to
Assassin's
this day.
Creed game for a long time.
I don't get why they don't just give in. But
I don't know. It's weird. I know those development cycles are at least 2, sometimes probably even 3 years
that's
long.
The thing. Maybe they already have like a whole. It might be on the agenda somewhere.
I'll have to check Kotaku and see if they've leaked where the next Assassin's Creed is going to be.
Yeah, they're a valuable source.
Yeah. So the next thing also coming out on January 12th is going to be the Gone Home Console Edition, which is pretty cool. This is up until this point, PC exclusive. This is kind of like that first indie game that kind of brought in a lot of
the walking simulators.
Yeah. I guess it kind of ushered in the
indie revolution.
Yeah, the indie revolution a little bit, and specifically the walking simulator, because I remember when this first came out, and critically it was getting really high marks because it was seen as very original and everything like that. But a lot of people criticized it for not being very much of a game.
Yeah.
Because there isn't... I personally haven't played it, but I've read up on it and seen a lot of videos on it, and it looks like...
You're searching a house. And
that's pretty much the entire game.
It's an exploration game.
Yeah, but you're also like learning... it's like gathering information and kind of putting pieces of the puzzle together.
Exactly.
But I don't know. It got praised heavily from I saw it on a lot of 2013 Game of the Year lists.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I said, critically, like from the games press, it did get praised, but then a lot of people were on there saying, "No, it's not a game." Blah blah blah.
Well,
it's like what defines a game?
Exactly.
So to me, any sort of interaction.
If you're using a controller in your hand and it works,
if you're interacting, then it's a game. But that's whatever. If you don't think it is, don't pick it up on January 12th on Xbox One and PS4 because it's probably going to be the same thing.
Do we know? do you know what the price is going to be? We don't.
No, I don't. There's no prices on this
I'm really
list.
Curious if this is going to be like a $60 thing or if it's going to be like a $30.
No, it's not 60 on Steam.
No way
it's probably going to be probably a $20 game. I would expect it to be. Apparently, it's not very long. So, if that factors into the things you buy, that lower price point could be more interesting to you.
Yeah, I feel like things like Everybody Has Gone to the Rapture and titles like that have been Gone Home kind of started that whole thing.
Yeah, so it seems, at least for me, from my point of view, that's where it started.
So no, I'm happy the console guys are going to get a chance to see this because
I mean, there's like a whole new they've got a new game coming out. Hopefully, I think called Tacoma.
Oh yeah, I heard about Tacoma. Yeah,
that actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
you're like on a space station or something like that, and
that got a Game Informer front cover article at some point last year. Yeah.
Well, it's the follow up to this Gone Home game, which was big back when that came out. So it's kind of a big deal to get the next game from that developer.
Mm-hmm.
So also on January 12th, you have the Banner Saga coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now this is kind of like a tactical role-playing game, which I have to say that the art in particular is quite striking. When it came out, it was praised for that and everything like that. This is originally came out on PC, and now it's coming to the consoles. And if you're looking for a tactical role-playing, turn-based role-playing game, I'd say definitely go and pick this up. Again, I don't think this is going to be a full-priced game, just like Gone Home. I think it's going to be like a $20 deal. So, yeah, I mean, if
now was that only PC beforehand as well?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it came out on any mobile platforms.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It seems like a game that would be able to translate okay to, like, say, like an iPad or something like that, because it's all turn-based and would probably look great on that screen. If you're interested in that, that's coming out. On January 15th, we have a old game finally coming to PC in the form of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, so Dragon's Dogma came out on Xbox One and PlayStation 3 last generation too. Pretty great reviews. It was, and a lot of people really liked that, from what I understand. I played it and really enjoyed it.
Oh, you did play it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I played through that whole thing. This is a weird game, man.
Yeah. I heard it was very different from your typical dragon, I don't know, RPG.
Yeah, so it was this very weird collision of Western and Eastern RPGs, like JRPGs, and a more Western way to approach them. And there's this whole weird pawn system in it, where at the beginning of the game you would design what they literally called a pawn, and it was like your companion for the entire game. There are other companions that you could pick up along the way, but this is the one that you personally designed.
Yep.
And you get to, just like your player character, you get to decide how they looked, and if they were like a ranger or a warrior or something like that. And then they would go into this online part of the game where other players would go to these like pawn stores, I guess I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
But it's like this realm that you enter, and you actually get to choose other people's pawns to be your companions along with your own. So you could send your pawn was always with you, but they were also in this other realm where somebody could take them. And if somebody takes them on an adventure, they can learn things
that you don't have to teach them.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. They learn things that, like, say somebody takes them and they go to a part of the world that you haven't been yet.
Yeah.
They'll come back with the intelligence on how to beat a griffin if you've never beat a griffin before. So then when you finally get to a griffin, they'll be like, cut the wings off.
Yeah.
That's its weakness or something like that, which is kind of a cool...
Yeah, no, that's a good way to blend.
Cool idea.
Yeah, like multiplayer with single player,
Yeah. They released an expansion called Dark Arisen, which I picked up and didn't really enjoy that much. It was like this dungeon crawl kind of thing where you just went through different stages in this... there's like this castle or something like that. But this version that's coming out on PC on the 15th is like the whole package. It's the original game, which is great, plus this Dark Arisen expansion, which I wasn't too keen on, but a lot of people did like it. So that'll be a cool way to get, for all intents and purposes, the best version of that game. It'll look good. All textures will be up-resed, and it'll probably play really well. Another quick game coming out on January 15th is called Oxenfree. It's coming out on Windows and Xbox One. It's an adventure game. Stylistically, it looks a lot like Broken Age. But there's kind of this weird, like, I don't know. I watched the trailers, and there's like this weird, like, radio mechanic where you're talking to people over the radio, and you may have some sort of special powers to tune into different radio waves. I don't know. You should probably check out a trailer on that if you're interested in those kinds of basically point-and-click adventure games, but it's going to be on Xbox One too, so there's obviously going to be controller support, side-scrolling.
Yeah.
On January 19th, we have a game called Darkest Dungeon coming out on PC, Mac, Linux, PS4, and Vita. This is another adventure game. I think there's some RPG elements to it. It looks kind of like an old-fashioned, dungeon crawl RPG thing. And then also on the 19th, we have the remaster of Resident Evil 0.
Yeah, this is something a little more interesting, I'd say.
Yeah, Resident Evil 0 HD remaster is what the what the name is called. That's coming to PC, PS3, really?
And Xbox
PS3,
360.
PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One.
Yeah, dude, because even that
cool.
Resident Evil HD that came out last year, that came out on last-gen consoles, too. So
I guess there's only so much you can really do that you can probably still fit it onto these old consoles.
Yeah, because you got to think a lot of these games came out, way before even last-gen consoles. So
yeah, so if they're not going to totally remake it, then they can only go so far with it. So that'll be cool. Maybe I'll pick that up. I actually haven't played a lot of those really old Resident Evil games.
Well, this is supposed to be a prequel from before the first game.
That's what I understand.
But it came out like years after it.
Yeah, it was like later on.
Yeah,
prequel
it came out like
in.
about 15 years ago, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And the of course, Resident Evil, the first one is the first one that literally came out.
Yeah,
but this is supposed to be a prequel to that. So.
Yeah, no, I've heard good things about it overall.
Yeah,
Like I think it's one of the more favored Resident Evil old school Resident Evils.
Should probably find online some, like, what best order to play them in. Like, should I start with the original one, or should I start with this one?
Yeah, that's always a weird question when
yeah.
a prequel, like, because, you know, just kind of a weird example. I figured starting the Batman Arkham franchise, I could start with Arkham Origins, then go Asylum and City.
Yeah.
But Origins came out, like, after the other two.
Yeah.
So, like, you play Origins and it expects you to, like, have already played the other two. Yeah. So it's like, even though the timeline would have worked, it's like, I got to do it the other way, the way it actually released.
I mean, sometimes it works okay in movies, like if you watch all the Star Wars movies in order.
Yeah.
That, like,
I guess
prequel trilogy first and then the original trilogy, that's fine. Or you could watch it in the other order too. That's
and
like release order, and it would still be fine.
Yeah.
But then, like, if somebody asks me in what order should I play the Metal Gear Solid games, and I'm like, you should play them in order that they were released.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's reveals and things you like if you play Metal Gear, if you play Snake Eater first, there's going to be things that are spoiled for you that would have been big reveals in the later games.
Yeah, because even MGS5, you'd be playing that before MGS1.
Yeah, like if you didn't know, if you went into Metal Gear Solid 5 without playing any of the other games, there'd be so many characters that you'd be like, who is this guy? Why didn't they have some sort of introduction to him?
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, like Ocelot and Cos Miller, they don't really have much in the way of exposition of their character. It's just like,
they're there.
I'm Cos Miller and I'm your friend. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
But if you play the other games before that, you know who that is, especially Ocelot, because he's...
Yeah, well, he was in, like, every game.
Yeah, he's probably one of the bigger characters of the series. So moving on, we have, on January 22nd, Hyrule Warriors Legends coming to the 3DS. So I'm guessing this is just a port of the Wii U version that came out last year, being ported over 3DS.
You never played that one?
No.
I don't know. Like,
it's like a Dynasty Warriors clone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually, that might be one of the things I do this year just for the hell of it, to play a Dynasty Warriors game just to see how it is. But I don't know. I heard Hyrule was at least more interesting because it had Zelda. And
Nintendo characters.
Link, Nintendo characters you could play. And so, I don't know. I guess, like, just another 3DS port.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll sell well.
Yeah, it'd probably sell really well. Probably better than it sold on Wii U.
More than likely, yeah.
Moving on to January 26th,
this is going to be size game of the month right here. I can see it.
We have the required Lego game of the month coming out, which
required.
This month happens to be Lego Marvel's Avengers coming to
everything.
Every single thing. Windows, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Wii U, and 3DS. So if you only still just have a plain old Wii, you're out of luck on this one. But as long as you've bought a console or have a computer in the last few years, you're probably all set. Probably the last decade.
All right, guys. Well, because I am a huge fan of the Avengers, more so a huge fan of Iron Man in particular, I will say that, I don't play the Lego games all the time. Generally, they're kind of fun in a comedic, non-offensive and more family-oriented games.
No, I've heard they're a blast by
they're extremely popular.
Yeah, like we're making jokes, but like they really are popular. So
yeah.
No, they are, and I actually find what you guys are saying very funny. I really do, and you have a right, and you guys are absolutely right. I mean, they are a little cartoonish, which is
dude, it's Legos. Yeah,
it is.
I mean, like,
but hey, growing up playing,
it's like playing.
Growing up using Legos all the time. I mean, that's probably why it's one of the reasons why it's so popular.
Yeah, well, and like for me, it's like there's just too many of them.
Yeah, there's so many, dude.
The last one that I played through to any sort of completion was Lego Indiana Jones, which was like the second or third one they ever released. everything after that, it's just been like, yeah, it's another Lego game.
Yeah, we
Guess
get
so.
on Telltale about taking all these weird properties. Look at what Lego does.
I know.
They've taken like every property you can think of.
That's why I'm like the
that's
the
not
Lego
mature
game of the
rated.
month
Yeah.
happens to be Marvel's Avengers.
Well, if I may say respectfully, Drew, Lego probably has a lot more money than Telltale. I think it's safe to say.
I imagine so.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it's not even Lego making these. It's Warner Brothers, isn't it?
I believe so.
I believe they're.
I don't even know if it's Warner Brothers because of all the titles they have. I mean, Jurassic Park had its own Lego game, Star Wars, DC superheroes, and now Marvel.
Batman. Well, yeah, you said DC. All right, yeah, Warner Brothers does publish them.
Yeah, so it's Traveler's Tales or TT Games now that develops them, and then Warner Brothers publishes them. So they're the ones that get all the rights to all of these franchises. So also on January 26th, you have The Witness coming to Windows, iOS too. All right, and PS4. Now, this is the long in development follow-up by Jonathan Blow, who made the game Braid on that originally came out on Xbox 360, like during that big indie rush. It had, at the time, it was the same way Gone Home is kind of like the forebearer for like the walking simulators.
Yep.
This was like the true original indie game that just
back
blew
the
up.
2D, like platforming.
Yeah, more or less, and it blew up. It was this is everybody loved this game that played it, and it had very clever time manipulation mechanics in it, which was something that you weren't expecting, especially from like a 2D game, which are usually very traditional, like linear experiences, but you could fast forward and rewind time and everything like that.
That's pretty cool.
So this is his follow-up to that game, which, God, I think it's been like has to be at least 8 or 9 years.
Has it been that long? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
We're in 2016.
Might not
now,
be that many, but it's been a long time.
Well, because when we say 8 years at this point, we're thinking 2008, which doesn't feel like that long.
Yeah,
ago,
no.
And I think that is around the time it came out.
And this game's been, popping up at like E3 and stuff like that for a long time, and it's finally exciting to see, that this is gonna come out. So just to give an overview of it, from what I understand, it's mostly a puzzle-based game. So it's from a first-person perspective, and you're exploring this island, but in order to progress, you have to solve puzzles.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
It has like a very much a Myst vibe to it, where but it's more interactive because you are, controlling your character from a first-person perspective and everything like that. So it felt a lot like the Talos Principle, which came out this year, which is a really good game. So we'll see how that turns out, and I'm kind of excited for it. It looks great. It looks beautiful, like the graphics.
Yeah, very colorful.
Yeah.
Very nice looking. Faux show.
So on January 27th, another indie game called Slain, because there's an exclamation point at the
I've really never heard of this.
Coming out on Windows.
Neither have I, Ryan.
This is, like I said, this is an indie game, and it is like a platforming Metroidvania kind of game. It looks very dark, very gothic in presentation, so maybe more on the terms of looks and everything, like more Castlevania than Metroid, but it looks pretty good. That's coming out on Steam. So on the 29th, we have Bombshell, which is also only coming out on Windows. This is like it's hard for me to describe, but I guess I would say it's kind of Diablo-ish, like a top-down isometric game where you're going around killing monsters and stuff like that. There was a trailer at one of the E3s recently that was a little weird. The trailer didn't really convey what the game was going to be, but now it's coming out and it kind of looks kind of janky. Also on the 29th, we have a version of This War of Mine coming to PS4 and Xbox One. So this is a game where you take control of a group of survivors. I believe it's in Sarajevo. There was like a siege in that town, in that city at some point in history. I wish I had a little bit more information on this.
Is this an RTS?
It's not. No, it's not an RTS.
No?
It's so you take control of these survivors, and the presentation is like you're holed up inside of this house, and you can only go out at night for supplies and things like that.
Okay.
And you have to basically manage between, who's sick. If they're sick, do they get medicine? If they're hungry, do they get food?
Yeah.
And you have to manage their sanity and everything like that. Like if they're depressed or afraid or something like that. And then like people will come to your house and be like, hey, can we stay with you? You have to decide whether or not you can keep them or not and stuff like that. So
Ryan, what I will say to give you a little more info is the siege of Sarajevo took place during the the Yugoslav wars. Actually,
yeah,
that's when the Yugoslav. It's like when Serbia battled Bosnia, Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know a little bit about that. But this game is actually I'm just reading about it now, and this game looks really interesting. In fact, this might be something I have to go purchase right now.
Yeah. It got very positive reception when it came out. Like I said, up until this point, I think it's only been a PC game, and now it's coming out on the current gen consoles. There's actually I believe we have a review up of it on the GamerHolics.com. So if you're interested in it, you can go ahead and check that out. Maybe I'll drop the link in the description of the video.
Drop the link.
So one thing I did want to confirm is that Rise of the Tomb Raider is actually coming to PC on January 28th.
Woo!
So I'm excited for that because that's the version I'm waiting for.
Yeah, you're going to get your definitive version.
I did play a little bit on Xbox One, but I deliberately stopped because I wanted to experience it on PC. I think with how beautiful that game is, seeing it on PC is just going to be even more beautiful.
Well, hopefully you don't get the guys who ported over Batman.
Yeah, shut up.
But yeah,
I think it's the same people. I think it's Crystal Dynamics doing all the work for all the versions.
So I don't see. I hear conflicting stories about this. Like, is this happening because it didn't meet the sales expectations on Xbox, or like did they plan on putting it out on, PC this early all along? The whole thing is just kind of weird. But then like I was at GameStop the other day, and like one of the guys tried to tell my friend that Microsoft is still going to make money from PC sales. Like, and I was like, what?
Well, I mean, they got.
I know, like they're affiliated to an extent, but
I'm sure they have some sort of money off of it, but I don't know. I know it's coming to Steam. I don't know if they're also releasing it through the Windows Store because Microsoft has a store right built into Windows 10 and Windows 8, so they're probably selling it through there too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how they're going to make some money on it. But that's interesting. I don't know if like this release date got sped up or anything like that, but they couldn't speed it up too much. I mean, obviously they focused on the Xbox One version to get it out because when you look at that game, it's like it's pretty incredible how they got the game looking that good and running that well and everything like that. So you can tell that they spent a lot of time working specifically on that version. So I wonder if it was easier to port it over to the PC and they're like, hey, we finished it. Or, the other thing I noticed was none of the Season Pass content has come out yet.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So maybe they were planning on releasing it this soon before they put out the Season Pass stuff. Yeah. So it's not like they don't have this weird fracture of like, well, why would you buy the Season Pass if already some of the content has come out? Like, why you aren't including it in the game?
Yeah, no, now that you say that, that could be.
Yeah.
Was there? There is a Season Pass, though?
Yeah, there's a Season Pass, okay. Yeah. There's probably going to be like extra missions and stuff like that.
Yep. But no, honestly, like the more people who can experience this, the better. Like honestly, this game, it kind of got swept under the rug because of all the big releases around it. So it, honestly, like, I mean, we just named a few good games in January, but as far as like a high budget AAA, like this is like the
high profile
one big one, at least on the PC side. So
yeah,
I hope it's supported, man. Oh.
Yeah, no, I think it should come out pretty well. 'Cause, I mean, they did a good job with those definitive editions of the original reboot. So I'm excited for it because what I played of it got me excited. Yeah. That's why I'm excited.
No, it's a great game.
All
right.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the first segment. the next segment is going to have us talking about some character competitions. Should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, this should be interesting.
So stay tuned.